Good evening, everyone. I am Bob Adler. I'm the Dean of the S.J. Quinney College of Law, and I want to welcome you all to our ceremony this evening. I particularly want to welcome our guests, our friends and family. Welcome and thank you for your support. You had a big role in bringing this wonderful class of students here today. You will play an equally important role in getting them through the next 3 years. I know they will appreciate it. I warn you that you're going to get a little bit sick of them, criticizing TV law shows for getting the law wrong. Be patient with them, they'll get over it. To our students, congratulations. You have completed the most difficult part of law school, intro week. I'm being a little bit facetious in saying it's all smooth sailing from here, but I do hope that this week you have realized at least one of the following 3 things. You have realized this is interesting. You made a great choice. This is a fascinating field. You're going to love the next 3 years of your life. You've realized this is challenging, but you can do it. Right? You've figured out that we picked you for the right reasons, and you are going to be here in 3 years when we celebrate your commencement ceremony. You've realized that the person sitting next to you is a friend and a colleague who is going to help you and is not here to try to compete for grades with you, is not here to try to steal your job. This is different from the old days when the dean would say, look to your left, look to your right, only one of the 3 of you will graduate. We do have alumni who still remember those days, but those days are long gone. You've realized that you do have friends and family, whether here in the room or halfway around the world, who will help you and support you in the next 3 years. And I hope you realize that the College of Law, faculty, staff, everyone in the building believes in you and believes that it's our job to help you in the next 3 years. Again, I want to thank everyone who has been responsible for orientation, our wonderful Dean of Admissions, Reyes Aguilar, and his admissions staff, our event staff. He's really the guy responsible for all of you here, so well done. Our IT staff and our event staff and our support staff, Dean Dickey and the Registrar's Office, our Intro to Law Week faculty, Lincoln Davies, Bill Richards, Louisa Heine, Dave Hill, Kathy Huang, and all of our guest speakers, including Judge Rich McKelvey. I also want to thank my colleagues in the faculty who are here today. Raise your hands and be acknowledged. Thank you for being here. Christina Jepson is the president-elect of our Alumni Board of Trustees, so thank you for being here, Christina. And I want to make a few quick comments on why we're here this evening, and then it will be my great pleasure to introduce and turn the podium over to Judge Scott Matheson Jr. to add his perspective and to administer the oath. So you're going to learn in the next 3 years that the law is divided into procedure or form and substance. One dictates how we do things, the other governs what we do and why. So forget the saying form over substance. Both are important, but in different ways. So this evening, as an example, we have a ceremony, a procedure, through which you will commit to the substance of your duties as law students, as future attorneys, and as future members of the bar. Ceremonies are important because they bind us together into communities of shared values. The substance of what we value as members of the legal profession. And I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to relate these principles to the recent events in Charlottesville and around the country. I will be sending a message, an email message, to the entire law school community on Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, addressing this in more detail. But as I mentioned on Monday morning, we in the legal profession teach and we role model how to express disagreement professionally and responsibly and with civility, including our adversaries, and to treat them all with dignity and a sense of fairness. Because what we value in the legal profession is integrity, it's ethics, it's civility, it's professionalism, and it's justice. And on Monday morning, I asked you to spend the next 3 years, and indeed your entire careers, reflecting on what justice means for your generation of lawyers and your generation of citizens. To give you more perspective on what that means, and then to administer the oath, it's my great pleasure to introduce Judge Scott Matheson, Jr. of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. He's a graduate of Stanford University. He then attended Oxford, where he received a master's as a Rhodes Scholar, and then graduated from Yale Law School. But he's also a Ute. He's wearing red, and he taught here at the College of Law for many years and served with great distinction as our dean from 1998 to 2006. It was my great pleasure to serve with him and under him. He also served as Utah's U.S. Attorney for 4 years, as a Deputy County Attorney, and he chaired the Utah Mine Safety Commission after the Crandall mine disaster at the request of Governor Huntsman. President Obama, he was a professor as well, nominated him to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in 2010. But what I want to note in particular is Judge Matheson's very deep commitment, a career-long commitment to the very values we celebrate this evening. As just a few examples, he initiated the Pro Bono Initiative here at the College of Law. He served on the Board of Trustees of the Legal Aid Society. He was vice chair of the Utah Constitutional Revision Commission. And I don't know if Judge Matheson realizes this, but it's particularly fitting for him to administer the oath this evening. This is our 15th anniversary of this tradition, and it was a tradition that he started when he was dean at the College of Law. So please help me to welcome back Dean and Judge Matheson.
Well, thank you, Dean Adler. I very much appreciate that introduction. And to return the favor, I'd like all of you first-year students to do something for me, and that's to take it easy on Dean Adler over the next few years. And let me explain why I'm asking you to do that. It's not just because I used to sit in his chair, but towards the end of my deanship, I was thinking one day about how people sometimes talk about converting dog years into human years. And I thought, well, what about dean years into human years? And so the last time I welcomed the first-year class to the law school, I decided to do that conversion. You can remember back a few days when you were first in here. My experience with the first-year class is that although this doesn't stay very long, the first day they're a little nervous and quiet and kind of searching for some clue to be successful in law school. So you can tell them almost anything, and they'll start writing it down. And so I was telling them about dean years, and announced that I was actually at that time 93 years old. And then they started writing that down and thought that maybe that was true. And so in preparing for this event, I was thinking, well, Dean Adler's been at this for a while, and so he's probably getting up around that mark as well. That should tell you where I am at this point. But in any event, because of that, be nice to Dean Adler. Remember dean years to human years. Maybe you'll cut down on the ratio a little bit. Well, let me just say how delighted I am to join you at this event, especially as you have completed what has already been described as your toughest week of law school. I know how intense it can be and how tiring it can be. I'm surprised at how alert everybody still is at 4:30 on Friday afternoon. But I'm especially pleased to be part of this ceremony because it does bring back memories of when it all started. And it's true, I was there at the ground floor, but probably more responsible for even the idea of this event was Dean Aguilar, because we were talking one day during the summer in 2002 and planning the Introduction to Law Week. And we reminded each other that the medical schools around the country have this really great white coat ceremony to get things started off. And we were wondering, well, why don't we have something like that? And we thought we should come up with the law school equivalent of the white coat ceremony, only even make it better. And as part of that discussion, we thought about the importance of instilling in the students a commitment to ethics and civility from the very beginning of law school. And so that was when the oath ceremony was born. During the Introduction to Law Week that year, we gathered with the first year class at the Matheson Courthouse, where Utah Supreme Court Chief Justice Richard Howe administered the oath. Now, I was particularly interested in holding the event at the courthouse to start this off because some of the senior lawyers in the community used to grumble to me that after 3 years of law school, our graduates couldn't find their way to the courthouse. And so after we did the oath ceremony that fall, I could respond that we took them there during their very first week. In any event, thanks to Dean Aguilar's vision and continued hard work, the law school has been doing the oath ceremony every year. And I really am very proud to be part of continuing the tradition this afternoon. Earlier this week, I administered an oath to my new law clerks, all recent law graduates. And the first thing we talked about that morning was their ethical responsibilities in that job. And I assigned each of them to read something that the Administrative Office of the Federal Courts distributes. It's called Ethics for Federal Judicial Law Clerks. Next week, a third-year student from this law school will start as an intern in my office. And she will be subject to the same ethical rules as the law clerks, and the same ethical rules to a large extent that apply to me. And she will be assigned the task of reading the ethics handbook as well. That's really one of the key points, I think, about this ceremony. The oath you take today is not merely symbolic. I think Dean Adler put his finger on the point. This is not pure form. It's a very substantive event in your time here at the law school. It's real. It starts now. It starts today. And it applies first in the classroom, and it extends into your clinical placements and to your participation in programs like the Pro Bono Initiative, where you'll actually be having some interaction with clients. So whether you realized it or not, you assumed professional responsibilities when you walked through the door earlier this week. Before I administered the oath, Dean Aguilar asked me to say a few words about the responsibilities of lawyers and the importance of those responsibilities to those entering the profession. And I appreciate that request because I can't think of anything more important to be talking about right now. The oath you are about to take includes the word professional more than any other word. And you will encounter that word a lot here at the law school and after you graduate. Law schools have always been known as professional schools. You will take a course on professional responsibility. The Professional Development Office will help with your career plans. You will take a professional responsibility bar exam. When you're admitted to the bar, you will join the legal profession. And as a bar member, one of the highest compliments you can pay to another lawyer is to say that he or she is a true professional. Not every job is a profession, and not every worker is a professional. So what makes law a profession, and what makes lawyers professionals? I think one of the answers is that lawyers govern themselves through a code of conduct. Not just any code, but one that recognizes the many functions lawyers serve and the obligations that come with them. One of the functions that is especially well stated in the statement of responsibilities that you have is for lawyers, and I quote, to seek improvement of the law, the administration of justice, and the quality of service rendered by the legal profession. A passage that recognizes that the law is a calling to serve the community, that lawyers must be concerned with the public good, and that as officers of the court, lawyers must protect the integrity of the legal system. As you learn more about these functions and obligations, you will come to appreciate that you are preparing to inherit a long tradition of professionalism, and you are preparing to become guardians of the rule of law. The oath you take today will guide you to becoming a professional. So please take some time to study the standards of professionalism and civility. You are about to swear an oath to follow. They will serve you well and enable you to serve others well. So at this time, I ask all members of the class of 2020 to stand for the S.J. Quinney College of Law Student Oath. Please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, that I will discharge the duties of a law student with honesty and fidelity, and that I will strictly observe the student code, the Utah standards of professionalism and civility, and the Utah rules of professional conduct, as they apply to my professional, educational, and personal activities as a law student. Congratulations, everybody, on starting law school. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Judge Matheson. Those were very characteristically insightful remarks. Thank you as well for that tip about dean years to person years. Hadn't thought about that, but I will say that when I started this job, I didn't have a single gray hair, and now they predominate. So congratulations again to our entering class. Thank you all for being here, and please join us outside for refreshments. Good evening.